Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Today we shall be looking at the Heavy Flamer. You guys know the format of the video so far. We're going to have a quick look at the Heavy Flamer, what it is, its stats, and then we're going to look at what weapons it combos well with, and finally where you should be using them in your platoon and kind of in your army as a general whole. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Should be a very quick video. Okay, the Heavy Flamer, like the Flamer, is a template weapon, except for it costs 10 points instead of 5. For that additional 5 points, you gain Strength 5, AP 4. That's really good. I'm a big fan of Heavy Flamers, and I would take them in many places if they were more widely available. But that's something we'll get to later on. So, the Heavy Flamer shares a lot of its advantages and disadvantages with the regular Flamer. Disadvantage is short range, not impossible to use on certain squads. Best used as a counter-attacking weapon or an objective-clearing weapon. Advantages: you don't need to roll to hit with it, and it's got more advantage than the Flamer because it's strength 5, which means it'll be wounding most things on 3s or 2s. Big deal. That's a big deal. And the AP 4 means it realistically starts threatening certain units. AP 5 really only threatens guardsmen. AP 5 with the regular flame only really affects light infantry. AP 4 starts getting you into the medium infantry territory. Things like Scutari hate Heavy Flamers. Tau Fire Warriors. I know we don't often face a lot of them, but when we do, or Tau Breachers these days, when you do, you can guarantee that the Heavy Flamer is going to ruin their day. Space Marine Scouts. You know, a lot of Space Marine players love to take a unit of Scouts as attacks with sniper rifles, put them at the back of the board, and the Heavy Flamer is your answer to that unit. Okay, you burn them out. You wound them on 3s, they don't get an armor save, they can't take a cover save, dead. So, the Heavy Flamer does have some good advantages, and honestly, if it was just a couple of points cheaper and available throughout the whole platoon, I would probably change my mind about a lot of things, like what it combos well with, because then it would start like comboing well with like the Heavy Bolter, because it's the same strength and AP. But as it is, it's the same cost as a Heavy Bolter, yet, and has the same stats, strength 5, AP 4, yet doesn't doesn't really work with it, simply because it's, you're paying the same points, but you get, as we said with the Flamer, you get one good use most of the time. You get one good pop with the Flamer. So there you go. So that leads me on to what does it combo well with. Again, it doesn't really combo well with any heavy weapons. It can do okay with the Heavy Bolter, but that's it. Doesn't really combo well with anything in terms of heavy weapons. It does combo very nicely with other special weapons, like Flamers. If you're going to take a platoon command squad with 4 Flamers, you might as well spend 5 points to make one of them a Heavy Flamer. Just makes sense to do it. And that's pretty much it. This video is going to be very short and sweet. Where should you take it in your platoon? Well, that's a really easy answer, because there's only one place you can take it in the platoon, and that is in the platoon command squad. A single guardsman in the platoon command squad can be upgraded to take a Heavy Flamer at 10 points. If you are doing the whole platoon command squad in a Chimera with 4 Flamers routine, then, like I said, you might as well upgrade one to a Heavy Flamer. No disadvantage in doing it, and I would personally say it's 5 points well spent. Now, because there's only one place to take it in the platoon, this video could be a little short 5-minute video, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain other areas where I think the Heavy Flamer is good. So this is sort of outside the scope of the platoon now. So I think the Heavy Flamer works well in assault veteran squads. So what I mean by that is, if you're a player who likes to take veterans in chimeras and gives them 2 melter guns, then, and I've talked about this before in my Emperor's Spear Assault Company. I think it's something like that. It's one of the formations from the Montcalm book. If you're taking lots of veterans in chimeras and you're giving them like double melter gun, you should seriously consider buying the unit Grenadiers as well, so you've got a 4+ armor save and a Heavy Flamer, and equipping the rest of the squad with shotguns. Now the reason I say this is because what that allows you to do, and the Heavy Flamer works well here, is it allows that veteran squad to pretty much deal with any target in the game and allows you to take ground. Because what you have then is 10 infantry with a 4+ save protected by an armor 12 vehicle. And imagine you've got 3 or 4 of these things overlapping their armor, creating a nice wide frontage of armor 12. You will be surprised, a lot of armies actually struggle with massed armor 12. Most armies can deal with the occasional armor 14, 13 vehicle, or, you know, can deal with armor 10 or 11 vehicles, but armor 12 is quite a nice sweet spot. And the guard can, armor 12 is on the cusp between medium and heavy armor. Okay, most light armored vehicles are armor 10 or 11, and most heavy armored vehicles are 13 to 14. Medium armor is that 12 to 13 bracket. So if you took loads of chimeras with, you know, these assault veterans in them, gives you a good wide armored frontage, which allows you to close the distance. And by being able to close the distance quickly, you remove the heavy flamer's traditional weakness, which is struggling to get into position. Now, if you take, let's say you take 3 squads of veterans in chimeras, and you give each squad 2 melter guns, a heavy flamer, shotguns, and carapace armor. What this allows you to do is to drive forward sort of 6 inches a turn, laying down multi-laser fire, and your guys at the top are shooting the las gun arrays. You're also shooting your melter guns at any vehicles when either the vehicles get close to you or you close the distance. Once you doing that with these 3 or 4 squads should allow you to severely damage the enemy position that you're trying to take. Remember, this is only going to cost you, like 400 points, 500 points. It's not a huge investment of points for 40 infantry with, you know, maxed out weapons. And this is, the heavy flame is coming into this, guys. So what you do is you drive forward, you know, 6 inches a turn, and then you get to about turn 3 or 4, and you're at the enemy objective, and the enemy's been taking a beating. The enemy position's been taking a beating. Maybe you've already cleared it of everything. If you have, then great. But I guarantee that your opponent will have either redirected forces to counter-attack you, or has dedicated a lot to defending that objective. You know, if it's an Eternal War game. What you can do is you can maybe just want to sweep him from a particular area. You know, what you can do is you do this driving forward, you do your covering fire, then you get close to the enemy, you turn around, you get out 6 inches, and you blast the shit out of your opponent with a heavy flamer, shotguns, and 2 melter guns. And then you do it again, then because you'll take some return fire, but your 4+ armor save should protect you a lot of the time, then you blast the shit out of them again. Anything that's left over from that, you should then be able to charge and push off the objective, and you'll have a lot of OBSEC units around the objective. That's what should happen in any normal game of 40k. Now, obviously, there's exceptions to this. Obviously, there's certain armies that are just overpowered and cheesy, and this just won't work against them. But we're talking about, you know, a Space Marine army with a couple of attack squads, or some Chaos, or some Orcs, or Tyranids, or whatever. All these, you know, mid-tier any mid-tier army, anyone who's not super over-the-top competitive, that should work quite nicely. And the Heavy Flamer is really good there because it's an assault weapon. And it just allows you to lay down the hurt before you go in and finish the enemy off. You know, and it's just good. It's a good weapon. Heavy Flamer is overall a pretty good weapon. So there you go. Quick video, 10 minutes. You know, we've not just talked about what the Heavy Flamer can do in the platoon. We've talked about its uses outside of the platoon on other infantry squads. One other honourable mention I would say is the Heavy Flamer. I would avoid putting it on like Lehman Russes and stuff. I would put it on Hellhounds. I'd have Hellhounds with a Inferno Cannon Heavy Flamer work nice, and the Chem Cannon ones with a Heavy Flamer work nicely. On the ones with the Melter Cannon, I would buy a multi-melter. Okay. Wouldn't put it on Lehman Russes. Heavy Flamers on Chimeras, yep. If you know your Chimera is going to be rolling forward 6 inches a turn, you're going to be snap firing that heavy bolter, so you might as well have the Heavy Flamer so that if enemies get close, you can burn, baby, burn. Last place, off the top of my head, that I can think that Heavy Flamers are genuinely useful are Scout Sentinels. For a few months, for 3 or 4 tournaments, I took 3 Scout Sentinels with Heavy Flamers. Their sole job was to outflank, and there's always going to be an objective that your opponent has just left a really shit squad to defend. And what you do is you outflank, triple Heavy Flamer, burn the ever-living shit out of that tax token unit he's taken, and you destroy it, and then you charge him with the Sentinels, and you just squish all over men, and then you take the objective. Heavy Flamer, Scout Sentinels, if you haven't tried them, you should at least... You know, if you have to proxy, it doesn't matter. You should run a few games with them, see if you like them, because they're pretty much guaranteed line breaker, and they will burn, baby, burn. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. I know there's not a lot of places we can take Heavy Flamers in the Guard Army, but it's still a special weapon, and it's still something that we should cover. And if I've missed anywhere where you can take the Heavy Flamer, I think you can take it in the company command squad. Generally, I would avoid doing that because you don't want to lose your ballistic skill 4, but generally I don't think I've missed too much. And of course, if you guys have got any cool stories about Heavy Flamers, or if you've got your own tactics with using them, please let me know in the comments. I love reading all you guys' comments, and as always I do try and reply to as many of them as possible. So I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.